I'm actually wondering right now who your current spiritual inspirations are. And I use the word current because I'm not talking about Jesus or Buddha or Hafiz or any of the old school spiritual leaders that walked the earth so long ago in different eras that we still take inspiration from. I'm talking about modern times, though. We've often been reminded that spiritual messages can come from the most unlikely of sources. I'm talking about things maybe from songs or movies or children or our friends or people we don't expect, out of the mouths of babes, right? Remember when Elijah told Reverend Lena, "We're living COVID, Mom, let it go." For some reason, that has stuck with me so much, Lena. I just loved it. Or maybe from a rock and roll song. "Forget your lust, for the rich man's gold. All that you need is in your soul." That's from Leonard Skinner's "Be a Simple Kind of Man." I'm sorry, I'll stop. But I find that, John's over there booing.
Thank you.
Oh, he said thank you. Oh, well, that's a surprise. Oh, thank you for stopping. Okay. But that brings me to the title of my talk. I wonder if you can identify the author of the quote, "Be water, my friend." Water is adaptable to change. Water is able to maneuver through any problem. And water is gentle, yet powerful. In the Bible, water often represents eternal life. Corinthians 12:13 tells us, "For by one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, whether slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit." Or Kahlil Gibran, and Kahlil, I always think of you when I think about Kahlil Gibran, who said, "In one drop of water we are found, all the secrets of all the oceans. In one aspect of you are found all the aspects of existence." Well, the author of my title died at 33 and was resurrected in a sense, but it's not Jesus. No, it's not. It was Lee Jun-fan, better known as Bruce Lee. For anyone that doesn't know, Bruce Lee was a famous martial artist and actor that died in 1973. And yes, that is current times because I was alive then, so don't judge. So for those, he usually had his shirt off, yes. He was the original show off my rich, right? But he was resurrected in a sense because a month after he died, his movie Enter the Dragon was released. Now, Enter the Dragon made Bruce Lee the world's preeminent martial arts star, and it was a major driver for propelling the martial arts in the US. It actually earned, in today's dollars, $1 billion. That's a pretty big movie. He was even voted by Time magazine one of the most influential people of the 20th century. Now, my son Chris gave me this book for Christmas. It's Be Water, My Friend. And it's the Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon, was actually the author, is the author. Now, the complete quote is, let me get here. Uh-oh, I lost my screen share. There we go. All right. Now, the complete quote is, "Empty your mind." All right, I'm going to try to read it like Bruce. I've seen him interviewed before he died saying this. "Be formless, shapeless, like water." Visualize what I was going to show you, that cup with the water in it, or the teapot with the water in it, or the bottle. And you can visualize a stream meandering through the forest, gently passing the rocks and the sticks and anything in its way, or you can picture the waves crashing against the shore or the rocks. It can be any of those things. Now, at first, when I heard about Bruce Lee, it was back in 1974 when I started my first karate class, when I started taking my first karate class at the YMCA. And that was shortly after Bruce Lee's death. I was 14, yes, I know, 100 years ago. And the people in this class were my friends, or they became my friends. And there were lots of boys and hardly any girls, which is probably why I stayed in the beginning, until I realized I actually had some natural ability. And I liked being tough. Plus, as I've said before, much of martial arts training is an active meditation that builds discipline and resilience. You know, like that Chumbawanga song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. And I promise I won't sing anymore. Well, we karate kids had heard about this legendary martial artist guy that had just mysteriously died. And the rumors in martial arts world were that the Chinese masters had Bruce killed for teaching their secrets to the foreign devil Americans, or that his striking and kicking techniques were so fast that his heart couldn't keep up with his body. Now, we ran around in packs, sort of like the kids in Cobra Kai. If anybody's seen the Karate Kid movie spinoff, it's a TV series on Netflix right now. But we didn't get into a bunch of fights at school like they do on Cobra Kai, except that one time in 9th grade, I almost did, after someone stole my purse at school. Well, the purse turned up, but my Leonard Skinner concert tickets that a friend gave me for my birthday were gone. Anybody sensing a Leonard Skinner theme here? Free bird! Hey, I didn't sing it. Yeah, I was really ready to rumble that day, I gotta tell you. And I let it be known. Word got out around school and the kids were dying to see a fight, but nobody fessed up. And little did they know I was just a green belt at the time and quite likely would have gotten my butt kicked. But a girlfriend and I snuck into that Leonard Skinner concert. You could do that back in those days. It was at the Kiel Opera House, which is the Steeple Theater now. And we paid off the ushers, I think all of $2 to get to the seats. And I was ready to duke it out right there and then with whoever was in that seat. But guess what? The seats were empty. I never found out who did it. I got to see the Leonard Skinner concert though, but I never found out who did it, thank goodness. It's the only fight I almost ever got into. The longer I studied karate, the more discipline and respect I learned. I became the peaceful warrior. Now, Enter the Dragon was not the reason I joined karate class. It was because of a TV show that came out in 1972 called Kung Fu. Kung Fu is actually a Chinese martial art, where the karate that I studied is a Japanese martial art. But back in those days, you know, to us Westerners, we didn't know the difference. It was all, you know, the same to us. And guess what? It turns out that Kung Fu was actually created by Bruce Lee. But Hollywood would not let him star in it, in that TV show, because they did not think that the old US of A was ready for a Chinese hero. No, David Carradine ended up playing the lead, Kwai Chang King, also known as the Tao Te Ching philosophy spouting grasshopper. Little did I know then that Bruce Lee was why I started taking karate. Yes, Bruce was a philosopher and a scholar of sorts. He studied everything he could get his hands on. And he actually had taken the best parts of Kung Fu and Wing Chun and boxing and other martial arts to create his own style called Jeet Kune Do. Now, he considered it the art of fighting without fighting. Now, it didn't look like that in his movies. He was fighting all the time, usually, defending the underdog or being wrongfully accused of something. But isn't that what we do at the Mindful Spiritual Center? We take the pieces of various spiritual philosophies that resonate, knowing that they all have pieces of the truth. And back to our be water theme, we humans in our skin suits are roughly 60% water. Water nourishes, like when it rains to feed the plants, or when we drink that glass of water. But too much rain causes floods and destruction. And too many glasses of water cause us to be up in the middle of the night running to the bathroom. Now, writer Jeremy Divinity reminds us water is frictionless and it flows at its own pace. It finds its way through the cracks. Through the practice of mindfulness, we can adopt this mindset of allowance, a mindset where we can accept what is, like water, and just find a way to overcome. Instead of opposing life's changes, we let things flow naturally. Adopting this water philosophy will help you be adaptable to change, be able to maneuver through any problem, and be gentle yet powerful. So right now, I'd like you to take a step back, settle in, and think of something that right now you consider to be an obstacle in your life. Take a breath and listen to what your higher self is telling you. This obstacle can be something big, like fear of the pandemic or political unrest, or something personal like grief over a loss, the need to forgive someone, or if those are too big right now, maybe simply getting past potty training your child or your puppy, or figuring out how to get to work on time. Yes, I know the irony of that statement. John is making a face right now. That's what I'm going to choose to overcome it today with you. He says he made no face. He did. Now I'm going to ask you to allow this obstacle to just be. Whatever obstacle that showed up for you, let it be without judgment. And we're going to commit. I'm going to ask you to consider committing anyway to learning how to flow around it, or over it, or under it, or through that obstacle. And later, when we do our meditation, we're going to visualize ourselves as the stream flowing around that obstacle you just thought of, as a stream flows around its obstacles, the rocks, the branches, the fish. Our affirmation today is, today I remember that it's not what happens that counts, it's how I react, and that my mental attitude determines whether I make any perceived obstacle a stepping stone or a stumbling block. Be water, my friend. God bless.